Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Walk-Ons Podcast. We talk college baseball. Doug, if you're watching, is not here right now. He'll join us in a little bit with some scheduling stuff. He's here for this. He's going to give you your D3 and
Can we make fun of him?
JUCO. Yeah, of course we can make fun of him. But a couple housekeeping things before we get started. One, we have reassigned Jay. So Jay did not do his homework again. So
I'm never going to do my homework.
So we brought the homework to the show. He is now, as Mike calls it, the look it up guy.
Yep. I think it's great. I think it's perfect.
I look shit up.
Yes.
That's exactly what I needed.
And it was
clear your cookies before you look things up, and then we're good.
And it was great because in our interview today, we have Oakland head coach Brian Nelson on later. In that interview, he put Jay on the spot, and we didn't even tell him to. It just happened naturally that Jay got put on the spot, and we're not a bad first impression, still looking for improvement.
Definitely. You're going to be looking for improvement probably most of the time.
So, okay, one other thing before we got started, I had a situation where I think it was actually a couple weeks ago, and I didn't think about it because, you know, you grow up with baseball, and by the time you're like 6 to 8 years old, you kind of just have absorbed the knowledge and the general aspect of the game. Well, I was working a game, and I think it was an international student came into the box, and they were supposed to work the scoreboard, like it was a student worker, and they looked at their boss and goes, I literally know nothing about baseball. Not like I don't know the rule. Like, no, I know, like, didn't understand balls and strikes.
Oh, my gosh.
And then that brought me around to, is baseball the most complicated game to explain to someone with zero knowledge? Because football is fairly simple. Get ball in end zone. You have 4 tries to hit a checkpoint, essentially. And penalties and
tackle somebody if they're running with it.
When they hit the ground, the play's over and they reset. Basketball, the orange thing in the round thing, get points. Hockey and soccer, put thing in net.
Yep.
Baseball, it's you hit. Oh, okay, and it feels like even to people that know baseball, there's situations that
run scored, but that was the third out.
Yes.
What the hell?
Yeah. A lot of people still think what you're saying. It's throw ball, hit ball.
Yeah, no.
A lot of people don't realize there's a ton more going on than throw ball, hit ball.
But like it's why was that a strike? Well, because the umpire thought they could hit it. Well, what's the strike zone? And then because they're natural follow-up questions that you go, oh my God, I've never had to explain this to someone before. Where any other sport, it's fairly simple, right? Yeah. Puck in net, ball in hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Run in end zone.
So I obviously, I'm a father. That was like when my kids were little. That's the shit I thought about, which is terrible, right? I wasn't thinking about, hey, are they going to go to school and learn this? Yeah. And I was like, how am I going to explain to Tommy on why we move a runner over on third with less than 2 outs?
Sack bunt. Big Ten, a big series win for Michigan. They take 2 of 3 against the number 15 ranked Oregon Ducks, including a run rule win in game 1. Mike, give us the highlights.
Unbelievable pitching, and pitching. I know they won 10-0, but game 1, left-handed pitcher Shane Brigham, freshman, went 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 7 Ks, and
no walks?
0 walks.
There we go.
Against frickin' Oregon. So good for him. Noah Miller in game 1, local kid, 2 for 3 with 3 ribbies and a jack. And I told you guys every week I'm going to tell you what Colby Turner did because I got to figure this kid out. Second baseman Colby Turner went 1 for 3 with 2 ribbies.
He might put a restraint order against you because it feels like the second the social media admin for U of M baseball types in Colby, you're like retweeting it. I love you, Colby.
Well, here's what's cool. I sent Coach Stone a text this morning just to kind of validate, like I didn't miss it. Right. You know how it is looking at box scores, just in case I didn't miss. We were almost like spot on. He goes, Shane shoved, Kurt Bauer game 2 shoved, David Lally game 3 shoved, and then he gave me a couple stats. So game 2, Kurt Bauer did what he always does. He is 6 innings pitched with 9 Ks. Evan Hager, local product, 2 for 4 with a ribby. Colby Turner, 1 for 4 with a run. Game 3, David Lally, another local kid, 6 inning pitched, 1 earned, and 5 Ks and 3 walks. Here's a cool part about Game 3. I don't know if you saw it or not, but DH Cooper Mullins. Do you know the name?
Yeah.
Walk-off, 2 ribby walk-off. His dad is the athletic director at Oregon.
Yeah, that's
How freaking cool is that? You're at Michigan against Oregon.
Well, it's more awkward for the dad than it is the kid.
I don't know anything about the kid. I'm going to learn a little bit more about him, but like from a recruiting perspective,
Right.
I imagine
How
there was.
can you not get the Phil Knight money to your kid?
No, but I'm saying I imagine there was.
I don't know what happened there.
I imagine they recruited him, or if they didn't, and then he does that.
You're going to have to find the story behind that.
Really freaking cool. So again, one thing I did want to highlight is Colby Turner's season stats. He's batting. I talk about him every week, and he had, I guess we'll say, an off weekend for him. He's batting .373 with 44 hits and 28 RBIs. .373 in the Big Ten with that schedule, pretty impressive. Michigan's 16-14 with a 5-7 conference.
Hold the records real quick. I want to get to it after Michigan State, because they only took 1 of 3 from Northwestern. Real quick, they did beat the Lansing Lugnuts, and I'll say that is a midweek that does not matter.
Did you see who pitched?
Everybody?
No.
Who?
Take a guess.
Who?
You're not going to get it.
No. Who?
Hack Attacks. They used pitching machines.
Did they really?
Yeah. There was.
Well, that makes sense because Lansing does.
You don't want to waste it.
It was Lansing's first game, I think. The Lugnuts didn't even. They were just reporting.
That is when A-ball starts. Like, they're probably leaving an extended spring training. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I think what they did is they gave like 6 outs per inning or something like that. So really, the score.
It's a scrimmage, but I just wanted to mention it did happen. Yeah. So anyway, State 1 of 3 from Northwestern.
Yeah, it was tough. I'm not going to have too many stats for this one. It was a little disappointing. It felt like they had them in all 3. I think it was pretty close, but game 1 on their win, this Aiden Donovan kid is for real. 8 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 Ks, and
no walks.
No walks for Aiden Donovan against Northwest. They won 5-1. Here's one of the things I told you about the offense. 11 hits spread out through the offense. Isaac Sturgis and Kamari Thomas had 2 hits. So there is the stats for the win. Again, game 2 they lost 10-9. Game 3 they lost 8-6. Couple things about game 2. Randy Seymour and Kamari Thomas had 3 hits each. You're starting to hear the same names pop up.
Yep.
Randy Seymour and CJ Deckinga, my favorite freshman, had a home run each in that game, and the 10-9 loss in game 2. Game 3, I have a note here, bright spot with quotes. Noah Bright went freaking nuts. He's I guess what you'd consider the backup catcher, but he's a veteran. He went 5 for 5.
That's a pretty good
with
game.
a home run, 2 ribbies, and 2 runs. So, good for you, Noah, kid that's been grinding it out for years. Season stats for Randy Seymour. We are getting to this point where I'm going to pick out some season stats, kids. He's up to 11 bombs and 32 ribbies. If he gets, I think Jelly told me, the season record is 18 or 19. He can.
He's in the ballpark, but I wouldn't say he's on pace.
He's been
you're
going
past the
nuts.
halfway point.
Yep, he's been going nuts, and I think episode 1 for us, I think I mentioned he might be a draft prospect.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I think he's going to be one of those guys. So up next for them, they're at Notre Dame on Wednesday, and then big stuff this weekend. They're at home versus Michigan.
And the series that actually counts towards.
Yes. The weekend. Yep. The weekends count, and it's going to be a big one. I'll hold off on the record.
Especially because, Jay, pull up the standings. Top 12 teams make the Big Ten tournament.
Great call.
And right now, Michigan is just in. Michigan State is out. But if you look, it is a cluster from 6 to 13
So,
or 14.
Jay, you got to start having some feel. You got to start realizing, shit, I should probably have this up already.
Have it up.
Are you on 6 milligram or 3 milligrams?
I have it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at the cluster here.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us about the cluster.
So the cluster,
where does
you've
it
got
start?
Iowa 5-7, Michigan 5-7, Northwestern 5-7, Rutgers 5-7, Indiana and Michigan.
So last year, it was between Northwestern and Michigan State for that last spot. And it came down to the series. So that's why this series this past weekend with Northwestern.
So head-to-head is the first tiebreaker?
That's what they said on the screen when I was watching. So that was big.
On the screen.
Yeah,
he
big.
says like he's a 1940s.
What do you want me to say? I don't know if I was watching it on my I can't remember.
On the stream, on the broadcast?
Broadcast. There you go.
Anyway, the 5-7 starts. Iowa, you mentioned them. They are quick math. It looks like 8th in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's so they don't put numbers on there,
So
right? You got to do
9th. They're 9th.
Indiana's 13th. So Rutgers is the cutoff line at 12 right now.
And they've played 3 less games than Michigan State, but they only have to win one of the 3. So Michigan State is going to have to pick some up because just get in the conference tournament, give yourself a chance.
So what happens this weekend? Okay? So Michigan State is 5-10.
Yeah.
Michigan is
5-7.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All
So
right, so
this is a big one.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
No, this is big.
Nice, Jay. Atta-way.
This is big, and I think we got some rain coming, so watch out for a little.
It's just bad weather.
But just watch out for a switcheroo. They might go to Ann Arbor. They might just say, "Hey, let's just go to Ann Arbor State."
The MAC. Central takes 2 or 3 from Western. I was not expecting this. Western was rolling. Now, when we get to the conference, it feels like the conference is starting to sort itself out, but I was not expecting Central to take 2 or 3. I'd consider that an upset.
They can play, man. Like Central has some dudes. They just got to get their shit together, and it sounds like they're starting to. I did like a mix and match here because they played each other.
Yeah.
So game 1, CMU 8, Western 7. Cool part I wanted to note, you'll recognize this name because you used to pay attention to Mooney back in the day, but freshman Cam Niehaus, I think he was a Richard kid.
Yeah.
The maroon one. Was he
Yes.
the maroon or was he Divine Child? Was he Gabriel Richard?
Mike,
Either way.
that coached in the league.
Either way, I thought you would know. He got his first.
He looks at me like, oh, yeah, you talked about our team. You must know the team we
You
play.
remember what I did? I go, all right, Bastion, you're pitching. All right, Lutsky, you're pitching. I'd sit on a bucket and we'd win. I mean, people think, oh, what a good coach. We had players that sorry, dude. Like I couldn't remember. So
He
cool.
remembers by the number.
Yeah.
If you say their number, he'll remember.
no, not even. No, I literally said, all right, Tommy Gill, go pitch and wake me up in the 6th.
Yeah, right.
No, Cam Niehaus is a freshman, got his first career win. One thing I wanted to highlight. That's what I want to highlight game 1. I mean, big time win for CMU.
Well, because Central just got swept by Eastern, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they were coming off an Eastern. We'll get to them in a second. But
So game 2, Western beat Central 9-8. Winning pitchers Ty Tomlinson, Turner Doran got his 6th save of the season in that.
Okay.
one. And who do you think I'm going to mention for Western?
yeah.
Mason Pilarski, 2 for 2 with a double and a run. Infielder Josh.
Is he now like 4.9?
No, he's not. He's doing his job. Like as a freshman, he's probably 230, 240, but playing exceptional D. And again, you see these every once in a while. But infielder Josh Poblinski, pinch hit grand slam to tie it, and Pilarski ended up scoring the run next on an error. But I see a lot of pinch hit grannies. Like we should probably add those up. Seems like it. Yeah. I mean, does that sound funny? Pinch hit grannies.
I was waiting for Jay to I want Jay to be locked in to look it up, but I also want him to still be able to catch when it sounds.
What do you think so far, Jay? Are you liking this or no?
I dig it.
All right, good.
He just gets when a funny thing comes in his head.
Don't lose
what
I just said. Pinch hit grand slam.
Yeah, no, that's nuts.
Big time. So game 3, Central beat Western 6-3. I'm not going to say this last name, and I should know how to do it, but I know his nickname. So Gavin Muzzy.
For a second, I was thinking it was going to be one of the NAI names we talked about.
No. So Gavin Mazalowski, they call him Muzzy. He went.
Sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah. He went 5 innings, 0 runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks. He started that game, didn't get the win, but here's another name you hear every week. Are you having that high school?
I'm still thinking about.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. So left fielder Cole Prout, who I think is going to be probably a next level guy, like whether it's USPBL or something. He went 2 for 3 with 5 ribbies and a grand slam to take the lead. One note, Tanner Malley, who you guys have probably seen some stuff on him. He's leading the nation with at batting 5'10".
Like
no matter
so if
what
you
league,
go 3 for 6 on a day, you've made yourself worse.
He's 50 for 98. That's better than 3 for 6, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
But no, that's what I'm
That's what he's saying.
Like if you
He's
go
saying
out
if
in a
you were to
game,
only go 500, you're doing worse than what you're
hit 3
doing.
at 6 and you go, damn it, my average went
Yeah.
down.
So, but here's what CMU did. They held him to 2 for 12 for the series,
Pretty good.
and he's still batting 5'10".
So yeah.
So good.
So Eastern, we won't have to spend a lot of time on it. They got smacked by Toledo. They gave up 39 runs, and they're
If you can see this,
Yes.
this is CMU Western, and
Yeah.
I have this. for
yeah,
Eastern.
just
I know.
it should have just been sad face because
was-
they were playing really well.
They were, and I'm pumped up for Trevor Bierman. Like he's going to be really good. A couple guys,
Toledo's
though,
solid, aren't they?
they are. They're chirpy though.
Are they?
Yeah, if you remember
They're
that.
second in the conference.
Oh, that was the one that Central wanted to fight.
Yeah, and they're getting chirpy. I've heard it from multiple people, not from CMU. Bruce Jellison is a kid that I'm looking at for the USPBL. Bruce, if you're listening, I'm looking at you. He's 5 for 10 with a homer this weekend. So
All right.
good job for Bruce. And another kid we're going to start seeing pop up for Eastern is Keegan Nupp, Knupp. He played the last 2 games of the series. He's a freshman, so 3 for 6 with 2 ribbies for him.
Way to go, Knupp.
Knupp.
Sure.
Up next for them, they're at Michigan today, which is Monday. So
Right.
I don't know. You probably know what's going on there. And then they're at home versus UMass, which I'm kind of curious.
UMass sucks.
Yeah, I know, but I'm kind of curious to just go see UMass. I wonder if like John Calipari runs around there still.
UMass?
You're not even old enough.
I know, but like,
Damn it.
UMass sucks.
Yep.
I think, have they won a MAC game yet, Jay?
UMass?
Yes.
Let's see. So
Or are they just US?
in the conference, they're 2-13.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
they've
won
won
2.
a couple games.
Well, hopefully
I
Easter gets
shortchanged
back.
them.
Yeah.
If Easter can pull off a nice sweep and eliminate that, that'd be
Oakland was on a bye because the Horizon League's a 5-team league. They just didn't have a game in a series this weekend, so they had a bye week.
yeah. They tried to get some in, right? But they got rain. I think.
They might have had a midweek or 2 that got rained out, but they have 5 home games this week, 2 of which have happened by the time you listen to this. They played Toledo on Tuesday, Rochester Christian on Wednesday, and then a 3-game set with Milwaukee on over the weekend.
Are they at home?
Yeah, they're all 5 are at home.
Oh, okay.
All 5 are at home, so they get a nice deal of home.
We'll have to
cook.
make it out there Sunday if Green's pitching Sunday. I'm hoping he's pitching Fridays, but
Right.
we'll see.
I don't think you're going to get that. In the GLIAC, had a big series between Wayne State and Grand Valley. They actually get a split. And this was one of the bigger series, I'd say, in the country in D2. Game 1, GV just got on top. Will Lowry, the front guy for Wayne State, did not have it. However, his weekend wouldn't be done. We'll get back to him in a minute. But GV was up 8-0 before there was an out in the second inning. You're just dead. Wayne State's bullpen held them to nothing, but outside of one bomb, it was 8-2. Braden Crow had the lone home run. He actually hit a home run in game 2 to win it 3-1. And Gavin Nash pitched like an absolute dog in that one. You remember his name because he had to go after Will Lowry when he threw the no-hitter, and then he got out-dueled by Davenport in a game, an uncharacteristically low-scoring game there, so they had split. That was the first game of a doubleheader. The second game, Grand Valley got on top. There was like 15 hit batters and walks for Wayne State pitching. And I will say this about Grand Valley. Their lineup is just stupid.
Jay, pull up Wayne's schedule while Brady's.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like Grand Valley's lineup is just stupid because I will tell you, well, real quick, game 4, Wayne State ended up going to win 10-8. They were up 7-1, and I was doing the game, and I just went, nope, don't feel comfortable. Do not feel comfortable.
Random here. I'm going to say it. The field looked freaking awesome.
Oh, Harwell Field's gorgeous.
Did they paint the fence or something? Like
No, they just arcade
Green Monster?
Yeah, it's looked like that the last few years. It's
Unbelievable.
gorgeous.
Doug and I went to the Sunday game,
Saturday,
as you know. Was it Saturday?
You weren't
Saturday.
there on
Yeah, we
Easter.
weren't there on Easter.
So what do you want to know about?
Well, real quick, Doug and I went and introduced him to Coach Kelly.
Yeah.
Doug proceeds to walk on the field. You know how Coach Kelly's kind of intimidating, like anybody else. Like,
You know, it's funny with Coach Kelly, and I'm sure if he's listening, he'll have to say something. Like when you see him outside the field without the hat, like he has a smile when he meets you, and he's very presentable.
No, he's always like that. He's just intimidating.
But on the baseball field with the hat, because he wears his hat low, and he looks a little more intimidating than he is. Like,
he's mine and Jay's age,
right?
And this is how we wear our hats,
right?
We wear them.
Well, Jay, if you pull up the picture of him on your laptop, you'll see he's got a big smile.
Now I'm pulling up pictures of people.
We're giving Jay
man.
Go
right
back.
now I'm looking at the schedule.
Yeah, go back to the schedule. So anyway, Doug walked on the field, and I was like, Doug, what are you doing? Get back. He goes, I literally put 1 foot on the field, and I got scared because I got a lot of respect for him, and he's intimidating. So when does Wayne play Davenport?
They already did. That was last.
Damn it!
Yeah, Mike.
Who won that series?
They split it with them. Yeah.
So Saginaw will be my next one.
Saginaw is this week, and then they have the last two are Purdue Northwest and Roosevelt. They've already played their tough part. Wayne's or Grand Valley. This Caleb Estrada kid's a problem.
Yeah.
For
third baseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hit 3 bombs. One was to center field that cleared by 15 feet. The other was an opposite field bat flipper. One was Jets, but he's a dude. Evan Morrison at the top of the lineup. He's the one hitting like 450 right now. He's one of the top average hitters in the country. And then there's Aiden Van Eckenvoort kid at the 9 hole. I think he walked or got hit by a pitch like 7 times in the series. He was what every coach's wet dream is for a 9-hole hitter in this series. Grand Valley's one of those lineups, and Mike, I'm sure you know about it, like when you're playing a team and you're like, okay, sometimes if you get through the 3, 4, 5,
get through 5, man.
You feel like, okay, I have an inning and a half before I have to worry.
Yep.
You've got maybe one batter. And the bad ones for Grand Valley aren't quote-unquote bad. They're just not as high level.
Yeah, they might be even younger, the younger guy. Okay, you're going to bat fourth next year.
It's ridiculous. But Wayne State absolutely battled, like I said. Gavin Nash, I wrote down, pitched like a dirtbag.
There you go. I like it.
I mean, he just... It's hard to describe, but it's something even Coach Kelly told me. Like, yeah, his competitiveness.
Wait a second. So you talked to Coach Kelly before a game?
Oh, yeah. We have a pregame interview every time.
You got to start that. You got to start that with Coach Nelson.
I don't broadcast the game.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, there was a play in game 2. So Rhett Rozier, De La Salle kid, right?
Kid's been a stud his whole career.
Evan Morrison, the kid I just mentioned for Grand Valley's at the plate. I think runners are on. There's a runner on second. I think it's a 3-1 game.
Where's Rhett playing?
He's at third.
Okay.
Barrels one up going down the line, right? Rhett has to jump to try to go across the body.
Backhand, as you're doing.
Backhand. Hits him in the face.
Off the mitt?
It might have clipped. It got him pretty flush. Like, his nose was bleeding.
I bet he still picked up the ball.
This is where I'm going with it. Ball's rolling foul. He looks up, goes, all right, I got to go get the ball. Like, he takes a step towards it, sees Nash off the mound, runs to get it, and then he goes, you could tell he just kind of went, all right, fuck, I'm going to sit down for a second. And took a knee.
He's a grinder kid.
Oh, he stays in the game.
Yeah.
Like, they look at him, making sure more so that his brain isn't scrambled. Like, he had like 3 of those cotton plugs in his one nostril, one in the other.
No way to look cool with that.
No. I mean,
you look cool by coming back out there.
Yes. Yeah. No. Here's the thing. So this is a 5-minute delay. Then I do laugh at RK for this. He goes, has a mound visit after.
Yeah, give him a little something.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Next batter, ground ball right to Rhett. Goes on the backhand, throws it a little off, and Bennett Hitzelberger, the first baseman, goes backhand across and like toe taps down to get the final out. And it was awesome. I did feel bad for Rhett. He came up a little limp on a ground ball in the second game of that doubleheader, so he didn't play. Caleb Sanders also threw a guy out of the plate. He was awesome. And
fielder?
Left fielder. Well, corner outfielder.
Okay, yeah.
Corner outfielder, the Edison kid. And then in game 4, when Wayne State won, it was Ty Garza was 4 for 5.
I did not know he was there. He was one of the best high school middle infielders I've seen. Like when I got there, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And Jason Hill, because it's Garza. His dad played at Michigan. Garza.
Well, and Drew Hill hit a bat flip bomb to secure it.
He couldn't even walk in that game. Did you notice? It's his right knee. His right knee.
He was a little.
But he looks like he's playing wiffle ball. It's so easy for him at the plate.
Well,
if
and it
he's
was
healthy,
funny because
if he's healthy, he's the.
I got on the broadcast. I don't want to say I got on him, but like he made a mistake. It was 3-0. Wayne State had some momentum, and he chased a pitch and popped out. And it was just like
that was his one out.
Yes, and it was you expect more. If it's a pitch down the middle,
no,
okay, but he chased it, and you go, okay, next at bat, bang.
Okay, so you know what was going on with the 3-0 count?
What was that?
Was there anybody on base? He's completely useless standing on first base.
True.
Like they hit him previously. I don't know if you remember. He got hit.
Yeah, and he got pissed because he got hit in the ribs.
Because he's raking, and then he can't run now. So, like, I'm fine with the 3-0.
But still, it was just funny because it was a little bit like, okay, you gotta figure that one out.
I've had too much water. You and Jay have fun.
All right, you go pee, and me and Jay will keep talking.
What kind of bladder do you have? Jeez, Pete, you can't hold your pee?
So that's a big one, though, because if you look at the GLIAC standings, that was the second loss for GV.
Yeah.
And they haven't played as many games. So Grand Valley, Wayne State, Davenport, and Saginaw are all in the thick of the race.
Yep.
If you look at it right now, because Davenport and Saginaw Valley, they split the one game that wasn't delayed. Actually, the other game
is right there.
Yeah, should have been playing today before we recorded this. And as I check that, it looks like Davenport won game one of the delayed game tonight, and it should be playing right now or has been played. We're going to find out live with everyone. So Davenport took at least 2, maybe 3 in the series. So, but no, it's an absolute cluster in the GLIAC. Real quick, of the numbers we had for that one, Lucas Mead had a 3-hit, 3 RBI day for Saginaw Valley. Jacob Pitt had 4 RBIs in the win for Saginaw. And a name I said last week that's come up a lot, Dylan Pawinski hit a bomb and had 3 RBIs in the game 1 win as they split the initial doubleheader. And right now, wow, they're actually still playing out. They're actually still playing.
Who?
Davenport and Saginaw Valley. Davenport took game 1 of the rescheduled doubleheader, and it's 6-6 in the 9th right now. So we'll update that live when we get that. So if I didn't have any stats from that, that's because it happened as we were basically recording. In the GMAC, Northwood took 3 of 4 from Splitsdale. So Northwood.
Stop that.
And I will. Stop. Why does he get so
What did
mad?
they do? Did they split?
No, they just said they took 3 of 4.
Oh,
listen,
I was trying to open up my citrus chill.
No, they took 3 of 4 in that one. Here's an all-name candidate. Gard Swenson for Hillsdale had a bomb in that one. For Northwood, Evan Larson and Brennan Hallman combined for 6 of the 7 hits in game 3. And you know what? I can pull up that game 4. You know, you do it, Jay. Pull up the Northwood schedule and see what the final was. I know they were up 7-0, so I was premature in saying
you're asking a lot from me here.
Have you
just type in Northwood baseball schedule.
Brady, have you been seeing Nar in any of the stats? I figure out if
he wasn't. No, I don't think he's been in the lineup. Oh, wait, sorry. I actually have it right here, Jay. So you are excused. Yeah, they ended up winning 9-5. So they took 3 of 4.
Okay.
From Hillsdale. And then, that's about what we had for that. And then we're going to skip around, go to the WAC before Doug gets in. Pull up the WAC standings because Cleary and Madonna are the 2 teams that I think have a chance in that.
They're making moves. They got to make moves, yeah.
Indiana Tech and Northwest Ohio are pretty good. Cleary took, and there's a lot of rained out games, so some teams played 2 less, some teams played 4, some teams played none at all. Cleary took 2 against Lawrence Tech in the 2 that did play. Brendan Saman again in the win, 3 RBIs, and pitched 5 2/3 as well. So
Probably throwing in the 90s.
yeah, it was a two-way player. Bryce Wesley had a 3-hit game. Justin Baird had 6 hits and 4 RBIs for Lawrence Tech in the series. So they lost the doubleheader, but a bright spot there. And Lambden Campanian with a 3-run bomb in the second win for Cleary in the 4-3 game. So
We got Jay
made the
pulling up the
difference.
standings or no?
Yeah, he's getting there
Ryan,
because
don't have this one.
You have the wax standing. You have it in the
It's right in
toolbar.
my face, sir.
You know what's
Yes, I know
amazing
it
is you
because
look.
I looked it up when
Look
you
at
had
it
me
right
check. But Madonna, they took 2 of the first 3 versus Rochester, and you can tell me if this is not fair, but I'm gonna say a little bit disappointing because Rochester is down, and if Madonna wants to win a league, you have to take all 3.
I was surprised when you just said.
Well, because here are the scores. Game 1, Madonna wins 16-4. Game 2, they win 23-0. And then they lose 5-2.
Are these, by the way, I wonder, are they stopping at 7 innings in NAIA, or are they going in the full 9? When the
I
scores
believe
are
the
like
double headers are.
But like you know how
yeah.
even in the Big Ten, if it's 10-0 in the
I think
7th,
they have run rules. Yes,
Okay.
they have run rules. Amir Mitchell had 2 more bombs.
Jesus guy.
Yeah. Start getting on him for USPBL.
Well, here's what we're gonna have to pay attention to this off season.
Yeah.
I think he's only a junior.
Well, let's
And this
check.
is when we're going to find, we're probably going to be having some conversations about transfer portal. Where's this guy going to go?
I mean, he's
When
up
you-
to like 17 bombs.
I mean, and that's a place you can go play 4 years and still get drafted. But you know how people are, right? How
he's listed
things
as
work.
a junior. You're right.
Yeah. So I think he's an outfielder.
They have
So
him listed as no position.
Yeah, he's playing outfield. He can just freaking.
But yeah, absolute dude. I did want to give a shout out to Matthew Redmond because after his team gave up 39 runs in the first 2 games, he goes 7 innings, 2 walks, 10 Ks in the win for Rochester Christian in game 3 of that series. Which again for Madonna, when you want to topple those teams that have been at the top of the WAC for so long, you have to real quick. They were playing game 3 or game 4 as we were recording, and they lost 3-1
to
Rochester. Yeah,
man, oh man.
So that's a tough
So that's a
doubleheader.
split?
Yes, they split with Rochester, and that puts them how many games back of Northwestern Ohio?
Who are we talking about?
we got
Madonna?
stand.
Madonna,
Do
yeah.
they have an easy
Oh,
spot
it's funny
for standing?
that
or
I'm
no?
looking at this and Madonna is not even listed on this.
Let me see what you
Call me
have.
crazy.
Look it up, guy.
You're in the GMAC, not the WAC.
The
Jack
WAC.
Northwood in there.
No, they're GMAC.
Yeah,
WAC
no,
is NAI.
WAC is NAI.
You should remember WAC.
There, here. You had it.
Give it
in
to
the
Jay.
in the toolbar. Look, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Who's in first place?
Let me be the first to report that Madonna will not win the GMAC this year.
Yeah, never.
So Northwestern Ohio, I know, is in first. Indiana Tech should be in second.
Then Cleary, Aquinas, and Madonna.
Yeah, but they're how many games back are that?
So Madonna is 9-7 in the conference. Northwestern Ohio is 13-2.
So you're 5 games back, 4.5 games
And they
back.
probably have to play each other. I haven't paid attention.
Aquinas did. They split the first 2 games against Cornerstone, 2-0 and 13-9. Sam Pollock for Aquinas went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk.
All right,
Which
not bad. I'll take it.
I'll take 1 walk in 7 innings. And then 6 Ks in the game 1 win. In the loss, it was Stephen Haksema, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 2 Ks in a losing effort.
I think Jay pronounced it Haksema last time.
Haksema.
For Cornerstone, 4 hits for Drew Goodman in game 2. Nate Jackson, Brody Durham each had 3 RBIs. Now, I had an anomaly, and I wanted to ask you guys about this. Mm-hmm. Is this fishy scorekeeping or complete anomaly? If I was reading the box score right, the Aquinas 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters had a combined 9 RBIs, right? That's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
No.
On 3 hits.
So 3 3-run homers.
I don't think there was a home run.
3
hits,
bases,
9 RBI.
triples.
I think there was a few fielders' choices that scored a run, but I just saw that and I went, that looks funky. Anyway, moving on. Siena Heights and Defiance was rescheduled for this week, and U of M Dearborn was getting swept by Indiana Tech.
Yikes.
Show today is produced by Hunch Free Studios, a full-service digital media company specializing in video productions, comprehensive digital marketing solutions, software development, and full-service website design. They do a great job making the studio look beautiful, editing all of our nonsense together, and getting this look all nice and tight for you when we put it out there. So, with that, we'll go now to D3, where Doug, you're our D3 guy, and Kalamazoo is an absolute wagon. They beat Albion their 2 games this weekend, and they're now 21-2 coming into this show.
Yeah, Kalamazoo had a lot of different contributors, so it was really hard to narrow this thing down. For the week, the weekend, I had Robert Newland went for Kalamazoo, went 5 for 8. And the pitcher that stood out to me was Logan Lockhart. He went 5 2/3, 1 run, and 5 Ks for Albion. Kind of the same boat. Not a ton of stats.
No walks again. You didn't care about the walks, did you?
Gavin Stahl went 4 for 12, and Ty Wazlanowski, and I believe this was in the loss, but he still threw 4 innings, only gave up 2 runs.
Yeah, so I mean, Kalamazoo, they're starting to get nationally ranked. You're starting to see them climb up the standings as like the D3 team. It looks like that's going to make a lot of noise, and I'm sure our friends at Adrian are probably looking at me sideways, but I mean they've been really solid in that one. I know they were playing Albion today, and Kalamazoo in the bottom of the 9th is up 3 as we record this, so they're probably going to sweep Albion. I know there's a lot of rain, so we talked about all the games that have changed, but Kalamazoo is about to be 22-2. That's pretty hard to do in baseball.
Jay, you got their standings by any chance?
Yeah. So Kalamazoo's first. Adrian's right on their tail though,
because Adrian,
they're 17-6.
Adrian just they beat Albion in I think a reschedule or it was midweek, and then Cal beat Calvin 11-5, and then in a doubleheader twice 19-6.
Yeah,
Doug, you have to have a lot of stats from that.
You know,
and narrow it down.
To narrow it down for
it's hard.
Yeah, Adrian, I had Nick Brunder went 6 of 15, Jack Boyke went 5 and 10, and Landon Kozlowski threw 7 innings, no runs, 7 Ks. And for Calvin, Gabe Bonemer. Jesus Christ.
Sorry about that.
His brother's like in AAA with the White Sox, the Bonemer kid.
He was 7 for 14, had 2 doubles. Thomas Papelowski went 4 for 12, and Ben Ferguson went 4 innings, 2 runs.
We did say, I think we talked about it this week. Remember, didn't we say we have to sneak in the word boner? Well, I think we did.
Boner.
It's okay. 2 of us have made not even just innuendos, just straight up I had semen a couple weeks ago. Now we have boner. So
that's a drop right there.
Yeah. Don't clip that, Tommy. All right. Olivet with beat Alma twice. It was really a lot of one-sided series, wasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. Although, when you break down just a few kids in the stats, it doesn't seem like it should be that way. Your boy Cameron Bleasdale had another good week, 7 of 15 with 2 doubles. Cole Grunwald had 5 innings, 1 run of 4 Ks, and Grady Perot was the MIA Player of the Week, 10 of 15, 7 RBIs, 8 runs. From the Olivet side, EJ Suggart went 5 of 13 with a homer. Brady Parton went 7 for 14, and Brian Carney, which I think we've mentioned him before.
Yeah.
7 innings, 0 runs, 14 Ks.
Isn't it harder? Like, I try to compete with Doug with doing the stats. It's way harder when the scores are 25-12 versus 3-1.
Right, because the 5th best hitter is still like 3 for 6 with the 2 RBIs. And it's like, sorry, kid, you were 7th in the pecking order. You get cut.
I think I got one with notes that just says offense had multiple hits.
Everyone did well. The other one, unfortunately, Hope lost to Trine.
Yeah, that one was real tough. And but they did have one kid hit pretty well. Nick Verduzco went 7 of 10, And even in a loss, I believe it was yesterday, Noah Reeves went 7 innings, 1 run, 4 Ks.
Do you recognize the Purdue
Yes.
name? It just made me give me chills in a negative way. Do you know where it's from?
I'm guessing a Catholic League team or a D4 team.
The team we lost in the state championship. His dad was the coach. He was the shortstop. What was the team name again?
Hackett.
Yeah, Kalamazoo Hackett.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So, well, at least Trent Rice is one Rice that can win at Michigan State. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll go to JUCO. Doug, in the East, a bit of a surprising split. Mott takes 2 of 4 from Macomb, and I know it's a split, but I word it that way because Macomb had been red hot, and Mott really struggled out of the gate. So I would say a surprising series there.
Yes. Yeah. I was pretty shocked to see that one, especially because, like you said, Mott did get off to a rough start, but they've won some games lately.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask before you get to the stats. They were 0-10 in non-conference. Now, 4-5 in league isn't great, but when you start 0-10, 4-5.
But the non-conference is just like with Oakland going to play Texas A&M. Don't they play tough?
But
they're not playing Texas A&M.
here,
They're playing
pull up
tougher
Mott's
teams.
schedule while Doug goes through the stats so we can see, because in JUCO it's a little different. You're not traveling to go play they're not playing like GLIAC teams or D1
Right,
teams,
but they're
so.
playing in Florida, I think, for
All right, we'll have Jay look it up in his new role. Doug,
I think that's the hard
highlights.
part when I was looking at the non-conference. I don't know what teams are good in Florida.
Still pick
right.
it up.
No,
I
you can assume in
I have
Florida
no
they're
clue.
probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mott's coming up against Kellogg next, so that's not going to be an easy battle.
No, but go to the non-conference real quick. Who did they have?
Do your job, Jay.
From before?
Yeah, their first 10 games that they played. All right, have that ready, locked and loaded.
So
Go through the
from
stats.
Macomb, some guys I had Buster Debo at 9-15, 7 RBI, 6
Baseball
run.
name.
My boy Vito Zito just makes his way back on 7-13.
Zeet?
Can we get you a Vito Zito jersey?
We're gonna have him on.
Can we have Doug?
He was walking into the facility as I was leaving on Saturday night.
Can we get an NIL deal with Doug and just a $50 one so he has a Vito Zito jersey?
Vito Zito Chimenti Law. That would be freaking
Vito
sweet.
He also had 2 doubles and a home run, another one. Best pitcher that I saw was Jonathan Mayette.
Yep.
6 innings, 0 runs, 9 Ks. And for Mott, John Lavalier, and I will say this, it was really difficult because Mott did not have any stats up until this afternoon. You couldn't even find a box.
Wow.
Couldn't even find a box score until this afternoon.
So at least they got one up today.
Actually, they did, and I had to find a recap. And so
But listen to this guy.
Doug is dedicated.
I found a recap. So John Lavalier, and I only have one game because I could only find one recap. He went 3 for 4, but he had a hit, a walk-off home run.
Oh, so
Man.
that
And the only other thing I had was Trenton Krewalt was the previous week's Player of the Week.
all right. You think it's
JUCO
split
East.
with Macomb? You're shouting it from the rafters, right?
Yeah.
All right,
So-
Jay.
So I've got February.
Yes, that is.
That's a
before-
great pronunciation.
what do you wanna
of
know?
February. Did you hear that?
What do you want to know?
Tell us the first 10 games.
So the first, looks like 4 games they started against USC Union.
Is
They
that
lost every one of those games.
Yeah, we know they lost. Just name. So USC
Yeah.
Union. Who
So
else?
they went to USC Union. Then they had Iowa Central.
Yeah.
Then in March,
Iowa JUCO is really good.
yes?
then they had, after Iowa Central Community College, they played Mineral Area College.
Sounds really good.
No,
Doesn't it just
That
sound
sounds like
good?
a nerd school.
It sounds really
Mineral
freaking good.
College.
It sounds good.
By the way, USC Union is a D1 JUCO, so that's a pretty.
That's
good.
what I'm saying. They went 0-10. It's
Right.
not that off from these.
And that's their first 9 games right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Mineral.
So-
and then
I'm right.
then
Am I
they
right?
played
Am I right?
Either 0-9 to
I don't
start.
know. I'll look.
No,
up
I'm just
Mineral
saying.
real quick.
I'm just saying they're better schools.
Mineral College, Mineral Area College. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Let's just move on. Because
I was kind of right.
Sure, you're right and you're wrong. Henry Ford and Jackson split a pair.
Yeah, I believe Jackson's second in the
Jay?
in the JUCO East.
Going there now.
Good for them.
The I did the series. Donovan Baltimore was 5 of 6 with 2 doubles. Jackson Kopas was 3 of 6, and Luke, man, I don't even know how to say his last name. McCunick went 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 Ks. For Henry Ford, Braylon Orset went 5 for 7, 1 double, 2 triples. Casey Robinson went 3 for 7, 2 doubles, 1 home run, 5 RBI. And I didn't get the stats, but Ian Manis, again, I think I've mentioned him every week.
Yeah.
How are you getting the stats for Henry Ford? Is that guy calling you back? Is coach calling you still?
Are
we done?
Does the league website
I actually
have it?
didn't, because of Easter, I didn't even bother touching base. So
Right.
I basically just get as many box scores as I can.
Yeah.
And then just try and look at guys.
Names
see,
keep popping up.
And
All right, and then Schoolcraft, they actually had a nice series for the first time. They take 3 of 4 from Doug Skippers.
Yep. Tony Menendez went 7 of 16, 4 RBIs. Lucas Clune pitched 5 2/3, 0 runs, 8 Ks, and Alex Stepniak went 3 2/3, 1 run, 4 Ks. And for SE4, Will Wiegand went 4 for 9.
That's another name you've said like every week.
Well, here's another one I've said every week. Mason Gobelak went 4 of 12 with 1 double and 2 homers. And Caden Shankowski went the full 7 and got the win.
All right.
Well, let's give some credit. St. Clair, I mean, they're 9 and 11 overall.
I know.
So
That
they
is
got some
crazy.
wins
Oh
this
yeah, they're struggling in league. I think they're in
year.
last.
7 in league, but
I know
9
they-
and 11. So
I know they
putting
won
some wins
2
together.
last week against probably the Almas JV.
Yeah, I think so. But again, this is a team that went 700 days without beating a team from Michigan.
It's good.
Point
This
blank.
is good for us,
But
by the way.
and then at the top of the standings, it's a pretty tight race, right?
Macomb's the top of the Eastern. Then you got Jackson coming in at 5 and 2 in the conference, right behind Macomb. Then Henry Ford at 4 and 3.
So
Block,
it's-
4 and 5.
We touched on it a little bit last week when kind of Caruso was, making fun of me or joking around about SC4. But I think there's got to be a little bit of reality that recruiting up there has got to be difficult. I mean, first of all, there's not a lot of big schools in St. Clair. And when you're trying to recruit, I mean, that school's 45 minutes away from Macomb County.
And I always joke about it, but for people that are from southern Macomb County, if you go north of 23 or 26 mile, you might as well be asking them to drive to Houghton, it's really not that bad of a drive. Like it's all highway, but yes, like I can tell you from the high school experience, like coaches in Warren, they will bitch till the cows come home about having to go up to play a team from St. Clair County.
And then you look at the other teams in the conference, you're still going the other way for somebody from not terribly far, but somebody from Schoolcraft to get a kid from northern Macomb County or Oakland County. And Oakland Community College doesn't have a baseball team, so you're not competing with that. So what, Henry Ford would be the closest to them, I believe.
And they don't even have a website.
And they don't even have a website. I don't know how they
Their
get
coach doesn't
anybody.
even call you.
But that's a good point. Like,
So when
a
you're
lot
at-
of those other schools can go every direction. Where yes, SC4 will get an odd kid from Sanilac or the Thumb, but the biggest school up there has like 500 some kids in the school.
I mean,
And
I think
that's huge.
I think Port Huron Northern might be the biggest school in St. Clair County.
It
I
is.
think they have 1,200 kids. There's probably anywhere from 12 to 14 schools in Macomb County that have more than 1,200 kids.
In Port Huron, was it which one is that? The red and black one?
no.
PH
that's,
is red and black, Northern
blue and
yellow.
And they're kind of football-y, right? They're
Yeah.
footballish.
They've
I
had
think so.
some.
They've had
Northern's
some
had some
decent-
good baseball players.
some decent
I mean, if you
ones.
remember the Manises, they were.
Yeah.
They went there. They've had some D1.
But I mean, you're and there's
Kid
listen.
at Macomb right now. Why am I blanking on his name? He was an absolute stud for them last year. They actually beat Anchor Bay in the district final. Anyway,
Where did Joey Seppo go?
he was PH. He was red and black.
He's at St. Clair.
Yes,
Oh, no,
yes.
not yet, right? He's got...
Yeah, this is his last. I believe so. Anyway, in the north, nobody played. At least according to the site.
Thank God, because...
Nobody played because the weather was bad down here. I can only imagine what it was up there. In the west, I'm just going to put what I wrote down.
Well, I do got a kid from the north to highlight.
Well,
You do
No,
the
it's
same.
in the west. You do.
Okay.
Kellogg, insert gruesome adjective here, body slammed, just curb stomped. They swept Glen Oaks in 4 games and outscored them 60-7.
Yikes.
That's Kellogg. Kellogg is now 9-0 in the league and 24-5 overall. Is it safe to say right now they're the number 1 JUCO team in the state?
Yes.
Are they ranked?
I'd have to look up Google NJCAA D2 baseball rankings.
I think they are. I think
They have to
even in the past couple of years, like between them and Lansing, it's been so darn close. Do you ever see their uniforms?
Kellogg?
Yeah.
No, I can't say I have.
It's a funny thing. They look like, and this is like being respectful. They look like East Bay uniforms, like those ones that you used to, the ones that you just used to Google and just you'd get them. But what it is these guys don't care. I don't care what I look like. Like the dirtbag comment I had last week. These guys just go out and play ball.
Right.
Their bills are all bent, and they've had the same unis for the past 5 years. But
football analogy, Middle Tennessee State, mid-major football team, they said, screw alternate uniforms. We need the money for other things. So we're going to have a home and we're going to have an away.
And those are the kind of players you get, right? That's what Kellogg gets.
So, and
they haven't even cracked the top 10 yet, though.
Well, top 10, where are they at? Is the D2 rank?
I got to keep.
Make sure it's D2 because there is D1 and D2 JUCO.
I don't think there is a D1 in Michigan.
No, we're all D2. Lansing and Kalamazoo Valley split a series, which kind of hurt them because one of those two needed to get blood in that one to keep pace with Kellogg. So kind of the split was a little mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, reversing back to your 60-7 score we were talking about, you almost can't avoid that in JUCO. Like, think about those kids that they're trying to move on to the next level, right? Like, baseball's such a respectful thing.
You can't tell them not to play because they're trying to get the numbers.
You put in your subs and they do it.
But yeah, Lansing and KVCC split a series.
So they're at 21?
No, Kellogg's in 7th.
7th now?
Yep.
That's
D2.
So yeah, they're number 7 in the country, which 24-5 record will get you there.
Yeah,
Mike, I know you had something on Lansing.
So Jay and I have a mutual friend, Frank Yoakum, shot me a text the other day, and he said, "Take a look at this kid at Lansing and tell me what you think." And I knew who he was, and then I called their coach, their assistant coach. This kid's name's Corbin Smith. He's an outfielder. Had a great Puma Classic. That's like their big recruiting tournament they play in. He's batting .325 with a homer, 19 ribbies, and 17 stolen bases. So shout out to Corbin to keep up the good work. He's a sophomore looking to move on to that 4-year.
All right, I did mention that. I didn't mention Lake Michigan did beat Ancilla twice, so yay. They were supposed to play again today. I'll pull it up right now just to see if that game happened because they were supposed to. I don't know if they did.
Just go over the standings.
Yeah, so give us the,
what's the standings.
Give us
in the North?
the West. No, the West standings right now are just Kellogg killing everyone.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Kellogg's there.
But Lansing's in second.
Lake Michigan College is now in second.
Yeah, because Kalamazoo Valley and Lansing beat each other up, so they gave each other 2 losses, which brings them down, and Kellogg's kind of running away with it. All right, now time to welcome on another very special guest, our first D1 head coach, as Brian Nelson, the head coach over at Oakland, joins us, and there's a lot of backstory to this. I got multiple ways. Let's start with how this all got started. So our second episode, the first one where we actually talked about games, they had a series that I was at, and I basically said the first 2 games they didn't play well. Yeah. And then game 3, they played a lot better, got a win, had a few really nice plays. And Rice texts our group chat that the day it drops and goes, "Hey, Brady, 1 episode and you already got a coach pissed at you."
Yeah, and to be clear, you said you were at the game. What are you doing at the game? I was doing
the PA announcing. So I'm sitting in the press box trailer right behind home plate, and talked about it, and Coach Nelson texted Mike saying, have your boy talk to me. It was a good conversation. Obviously, everything's good now, but Coach, I guess we'll start off. Would you like to say your piece to me right now?
Well, first, I guess I'd say, is everything good now?
Yeah.
You're just making some assumptions here that everything's good. So, I mean, sure, I guess everything's good, Brady.
You guys played a lot better in that.
Here's what I will say. First off, on your defense, if I was standing behind that fence and I didn't know anything, I would also go, these guys don't look very good. And they also did not play very well. So you weren't wrong, right? What I will say is, and this is what I told Mike. And so when we talked about, hey, well, this started a couple weeks. I'll tell you when this started. This actually started about 5 years ago when I met Mike Rice. This is when this all started.
Yeah.
So having the ability to then text Mike, after being able to watch his show and offering some constructive criticism, and my constructive criticism was, hey, if I was going to be the PA announcer of a program, I want to be the best at it. And so I probably should go get some information about what I am or am not doing. I believe in extreme accountability. It is, it's something we preach in our program. And Brady, what I will do is I'm going to give you the free pass, and I'm going to say I did a bad job as the head coach of the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies to recognize that we had a new public address announcer in the booth, and I didn't do a good job of coming out of my way to introduce myself to you and say, hey, feel free to always come chat me up. And to be honest, this is partially Mike's fault. Yeah. I didn't know that you were part of the podcast. And if I had known that, and if I had specifically even known that you were going to be talking about us, I would have gone out of my way to make sure I introduced myself. But nonetheless, we got a great story, and we are here now chatting about Golden Grizzly baseball. So,
so a little backstory. So I'd been filling in like the last 2 or 3 years. It started when the last coach, Jordan Banfield, was there. And I will say, in my defense, and I think you'd agree with this, there is no PA announcer that will ever talk to Jordan Banfield on game day. When I got started, like the first day I do it, like, this is the script. You do it at this exact moment. So
this is how you say the names properly. This is
how you say every name, and make sure like you were on your toes there. And you made sure everything was to the T. So yeah, I was like, all right, don't need to talk to coach on game day. And and I guess that leads into the first thing where you and him are still close, but two very diametrically opposed personalities.
Absolutely. Number one, yes, we are. I mean, one of my better friends in coaching, one of my best friends, outside of coaching. We're polar opposites. We're black and white cookie. Whatever you want to, at least from an outsider's perspective, we are. But what people don't realize probably is how much we were actually in line with a lot of the things that we cared about and that were priorities to us. Winning is and will be, always a priority for both Coach Banfield and myself. And what he did here at Oakland was unprecedented, and I'm fortunate to have gotten the opportunity to be a part of it. But yeah, we, at the end of the day, like we do coach differently, and it's because it's our personalities. And if I ever try to be like him, I'm going to be unauthentic. I'm going to lack being the genuine Coach Nelson that I am. And then vice versa. If he ever tried to be like me, he'd probably pull his hair out, and we both want the same thing. And I think that it's a perfect example that, there's multiple ways to skin the cat, and winning in college baseball is hard. Winning at the Division I level is really hard. And there's a lot of good coaches out there, and there's a lot of people that do things differently. That's what I'd tell you. Yeah. But we worked well together because, for lack of better words, we tended to pick up where the other person lacked. But we were so in line with what we were trying to accomplish. And that's why we worked so well together. And I was very astute to the type of athlete that responded well to Coach Banfield's type of coaching. And so it took us a year or two to really kind of find that niche and that type of player, as we kind of worked through that. And then, and it's no different now that I'm the head coach. We're having to find, and we're in the process of adding and bringing players into the program that fit the way that I coach.
Yeah, I want to hear. I know so much about you, and I don't want to take any of this stuff for granted, and I want to make sure the people can hear it. So tell us a little bit about. I want to hear about the team and the players eventually, but tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into it, all that fun stuff, and I got a couple more after that.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk, and that's probably one of my biggest flaws is I tend to talk. But how did I get into it? I played college baseball. I love college baseball. I played college football for a hot minute. I went to the Air Force Academy. Blew out a disc in my back, tore a labrum in my shoulder. Transferred out, continued chasing the dream, bounced around at Texas A&M and Sam Houston, trying to figure it out. During that process, played some summer collegiate baseball for an organization called the Brazos Valley Bombers. Little did I know that was going to end up being a big part of my coaching career. And finished playing, finished kind of realizing. So I had shoulder surgery, had knee surgery. Decided that I was going to be a better coach than I was a player, and started going that route. Coached Division III baseball at a little place called Mary Hardin Baylor out in Belton, Texas. Then I got the opportunity to coach on some summer collegiate teams for the Brazos Valley Bombers. We won a quote unquote national championship. It was, however you want to. It's as fake as it really is, but we were pretty good.
Didn't you run that league too, or something like that?
Yeah, fast forward to then I get an opportunity to go coach at Lamar University out in Beaumont, Texas, and I was there for a while, and that was honestly the biggest part of my coaching career. Coached underneath a guy named Jim Gilligan, who at the time was top 5 in all-time wins list. He had, and I say this because I feel like in a sense I'm kind of modeling a little bit of what he did, but he was at Lamar for 30 something years. He's got a street named after him.
And an island, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's touche. Anyways, did a lot of things, but the assistants there were also unbelievable mentors to me. A guy named Scott Hatton and a guy named Jim Rickelson. Rickelson is now an assistant over at Lafayette with the Raging Cajuns, and Scott Hatton is actually still at Lamar underneath Will Davis. And I still utilize both those guys for mentorship. But being there, was there for a while. Then we went to UTRGV. I say we, my family, my wife. We had a daughter while I was down there, a little 9-year-old now. And
wow. Time flies.
Time flies. And COVID hit. My head coach, actually at that time, a guy named Manny Manchester. That's actually where I met Jordan. So Jordan and I, this guy shows up from Illinois Springfield up north, and at the time I ain't spent too much time north of Texas, and so here comes this guy, and I'm like, who is this guy coming down to the southern tip of Texas?
Yeah.
All right, we are talking like we are stone's throw from the border, and it's a guy named Jordan Banfield, and so Jordan's the recruiting guy. He's doing all that. We're coaching our tails off. Our head coach, Wild, signs a 3-year contract. Right at the end of the season, comes in and he's like, "Hey fellas, I'm stepping down for health reasons." You get the press release, the one that everyone gets, where it's just like they just don't want to fire you.
Yeah.
And listen, man, God bless him. He ends up dying of cancer a year and a half later. Unbelievable. But so Jordan and I are both kind of sitting there going, okay, now what?
Wait, where is it? Where is this at this point?
This is at UTRGV down in Mexico.
Yep. Big crowds.
We are, now, and it was UT Pan American, like right before we took over. And so we kind of went through this transition to RGV. So anyways, fast forward, Jordan goes out to Arizona to do some PBR stuff for a minute. Then he gets the associate head job at Akron. And then he eventually fast forward to he gets the job at Oakland, and he calls me up and he's just, "Hey man, you want to come to Oakland?" And I was like, "Yes,
sweet, California sounds awesome."
And turns out it's in Michigan. And so that was, I don't know, 6 years or so ago. And we came up, and my wife and I, my daughter, and we were I was the assistant for 4 years. My wife then gets she's the director of marketing here at Oakland at the time. She gets the head coach, excuse me. It felt like she would. She gets the director of the Letterman's Association at Texas A&M. So she heads down there in the fall. So this happens like around September, October of the fall of my last year physically at Oakland. And so we had just actually lost our pitching coach. So it was just Jordan, myself, and 2 of our grad assistants who had just graduated they were both in the starting lineup the year before. And I was like, well, I can't leave. And I also thought, man, we got a chance to really do this. And Oakland has never won a conference championship. We don't run from that fact. I mean, that's the truth. And we really felt like we were in position to do it that year. And fast forward to the end of the year, the game ends in heartbreak. We made it to the championship. We were in the winner's bracket, and we just couldn't finish the deal. And we lost. And at the end of that season, I had to look Jordan in the face and just say, man, I love you, but I gotta go. I gotta go back to Texas. I gotta go find my wife and my family, and they're down there. She's doing the director job at A&M, and I had kept my daughter in the fall so she could finish, and then we sent her down there in the spring to get started in school. And, the plan was, hey, get down there and go find a job and keep coaching and get to work and get lucky, honestly, and roll the dice and get lucky. And it didn't. I finished second place in a lot of jobs. And so didn't happen. Fast forward a year later. Well, and this is where I owe a ton to Jordan. He kept me on staff in a capacity that allowed me to stay in the game and allowed me to still help him. I mean, we are limited in resources at Oakland in certain capacities. So we got to get creative with how we get things done. And so even from afar from Texas, I was able to help him out with operations, help him out with some of the recruiting processes. Because our pitching coach had left mid-year, he had to bring on a whole new staff. And so me being there to help kind of transition how he operates to the new staff members, it provided some value to him. So he kept me on, which allowed me to keep my foot in the door a little bit, specifically at Oakland. And so then fast forward to and I came up for a handful of games, met him out on the road a couple times. I actually ended up, and we'll get to this, I'm certain, later, but I ended up having fusion surgery on my spine. So I was like, well, this will be my first opportunity where I don't need to be out there every day. So I ended up getting back surgery, get that kind of taken care of. And then I'm coaching the Brazos Valley Bombers during the summer again. And honestly didn't want to. My wife kind of told me I should do it just to kind of scratch the itch a little bit. Yeah. And sure enough, Jordan calls me one day, and I was in the mix for some other jobs. And Jordan gives me a call, and he says, hey, I think I'm taking this job out of Bakersfield. And he's like, would you be interested in coming back? And I was, I looked at my wife, and she was, at this point,
if it was on speakerphone, you would have been in trouble. Hopefully you heard it and then you were able to ask her. I've had those calls before.
We had already kind of talked about, what I guess I didn't say. And the truth is that during that year down in Texas, I mean, I was miserable. I was not coaching. I was really searching for purpose. I was making more money than I probably had ever made in coaching in my career. I was spending more time with my family than I probably ever had. It makes me sound like a schmuck.
Yeah.
And, but the truth is I woke up every day going, what the heck am I doing? And, I lacked purpose. And so my wife, bless her heart, she was able to see that. And I think she knew. Now, she had a really good job, and she wasn't just going to let me go for anything. So it was kind of like, hey, head coach or bust.
Yeah.
You get an opportunity to go be a head coach. Like, yes, let's go.
Division I head coach. I mean, that's pretty freaking
specifically,
fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
So but we were open. We were open to a lot of different things. And so when this opportunity came, it was kind of funny. It was like, do you want to be the interim? If we go the interim route, because I had been still part of the roster, it was like, if we go the interim route, then you can start tomorrow and we get to do work on retaining the roster and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or we can open it up and go the traditional route. And I'm not, this was my athletic director speaking to me. He's like, I'm not telling you that you don't got a shot at being a finalist and being a part of this, but like, it's, I'm still going to open it up and we're going to go through that route. And you get the shot to be the interim. And, at the end of the year, yes, we're going to have to open it up again, but you've been the interim, you got a shot to really earn it. So I kind of gambled on myself, and I was fairly confident in my abilities to do it. And it's funny, I say that, and we went out, we played 19 one-run baseball games last year. I think we lost 16 of them. So
back to that interim part.
I didn't give Steve too much. I was making it tough on him. I think he really wanted to hire me, but I making it tough from an outside perspective. I can tell you that. I'm sure he wanted us to win a few more games.
Hey, back to that interim part real quick.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
As an outsider, I didn't know that. And like, it was a good move. It was a good ass move to say, let me grind it out.
In retrospect, right? Like I'm the head coach now.
Well,
so.
yeah, but still, you got to prove to everybody what you're doing, right? Like no matter what, the players got to get to know you, and you got to kind of prove your shit for the season for next year.
You know, I talked to Bierman over at Eastern right now, and you know, he's in the middle of being an interim too, and just giving him a little bit of just like, hey man, I've been there, and it's, you know, it's a tough way to coach, to be honest with you. It's you do everything you can to not be fixated on winning and losing, and you really want to be able to build a program, and you're doing everything you can to think long term, and you want to make long term decisions, and you want to do what's right for the program and not in the moment, and sometimes that's tough when you're an interim because you feel like you're getting judged on a lot of different things, and we constantly are anyways, don't get me wrong, but you know, it doesn't feel like you got much leash sometimes as an interim, and it's hard because you got to have faith that people see that you are building, that you are doing the right things, and then you got to have faith in yourself, and but it's easy to get lost. It's tough, and it's easy to get elated when you do really good things too, because being an interim is not just about winning and losing. I truly believe now that they want to see if you can build a program. And it's not just about 1 year.
So how did you find out you were the no longer interim head coach? You were just head coach Brian Nelson.
Well, we went through your traditional interview process. Other people were candidates. He brought other candidates on campus. I would say that was a little awkward at times. Knowing
you were acting like Will Ferrell in was it Step Brothers when they're trying to buy the house? Hey neighbor,
that's the best analogy you've ever said. You know, right there. You got to leave the office. You know, you got to be out. You know, and it's kind of like, you know, they're touring people around, and it's kind of like they're showing your home around.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
The answer is it didn't matter. I got to a point. There was a point in last season where I made a kind of an internal decision that I was going to stop worrying about it. And you know, I'm a man of faith, and I will tell you that, you know, sometimes we get wrapped up in our own will, and got to keep perspective a little bit. And so for me, that was, you know, something that I was able to turn that corner, and fortunately things worked out. How did I find out? Went through the process, you know, and I want to tell you, to credit to Steve and a lot of other people in the process, I knew that they were going to do their jobs as far as evaluating and making sure that they found what they believed was the best person to run Oakland University program, baseball program. And they weren't going to gift it to me by any means. But he called me in the office, and, you know, it tried to make it as official and professional as it kind of was. Like, if I hadn't been there for 5 years, you know, I think that was the thing that was very, it was interesting. I think both parties had to like try to be great actors in a lot of the scenarios.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I sent my resume and my cover letter like I was just Joe Schmo off the street. And even though I had been here in some capacity for 5, I did the interview process like, hey, how you doing? You know, Mr. Hitchings, hey, how you doing? You know, et cetera. And so, you know, but that's also part of it, right? Like that's, you know, at the end of the day, like I was going to treat it like it was the most important thing, because it is the most important thing.
Yeah, the other thing is, though, like, I think you're downplaying it because you are doing a hell of a job. And one thing you didn't mention that I know you know, the players love you, right? So you've been around for 5 years, and
Sure.
I've been around even kind of recruiting with you. And one of the things people say to me is they like you as a person from a personality perspective. So that was a big deal being there as a coach, as the interim coach, and for them to know players are going to stay, especially in times like today.
I was going to say, in this day and age, in 2020, 26, man, it's, you know, a lot of the tough coaching and all that's kind of trending all over Twitter and about coaches who, and Tom Izzo's, I will hand up, say, I wish I knew more about college basketball. I did not fill out a bracket. The only reason I know who's playing tomorrow is because one of them happens to be an hour and a half away from us. So, is it tomorrow? Shoot,
I was
tonight.
say, and it's tonight. So you don't know shit. So actually, you just proved
I guess my point is, however, with that being said, like, I got books and things that, leaders are leaders. And, so, listen to a lot of that stuff. You're right. Like, it's important. You got to have players. I don't think they got to like you, but they got to respect you. They got to believe you when you're talking to them. And the only way to do that, at least the way that I have found to accomplish that, is to be as genuine and as authentic as I can be. And I'm a terrible liar. And so I do my best not to. And so I remind people, I'm going to give you my version of the truth, my perspective, and how I see things. And I'm going to be honest with you. And
that goes a long way.
And then the other part of this, and this is the part that I think people miss, like, man, you got to love them. Like, you got to truly care about these kids.
Here's a story. Here's a story about what you're saying. So last year or 2 years ago, Stephen Rule, who's on staff, who you've probably seen the name, kid that played for me, who I love, and you can't even argue. He has major league stuff. I think it was I think you guys were at Michigan, and he walked the bases loaded. I don't even know if you will remember this, but I'm an observer. I watch shit. He walks the bases loaded. Nelly calls time, does his little walk out there, and you see him, like, you're talking about how you care for players. Whatever the hell he said to him was genuine and made this kid feel like, I can fucking do this. Like, I can get these, and I
can dig out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm 99% sure he got out of that with maybe 3 strikeouts. It might be exaggerating in my brain, but you went out and visited, and I'm just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying is just kind of believe in the kids.
I don't want to sit here and act like I'm Yoda or something.
No, but what you were saying a second ago when I interrupted you is just believing in these kids.
There
right?
is some of that. I don't want to necessarily tell you it's what I said, but there is a hey man, like, they're gonna know if I really believe in them.
Yeah.
And so vice versa. Like, we talk about accountability in our program. We really have ripped the onion layers back on what it takes to actually hold somebody accountable. And it usually starts with knowing that other person genuinely cares about them. And so when you can do that, and you have the ability to actually hold people accountable, that's where you start real growth. And you get buy-in, you get all the cliche words that everybody likes to throw around. And we talk a lot about, everybody always said, trust the process, but I was like, well, like, man, you started asking kids, I was like, define your process. What's the process? And half of them are just like, it's, and so, okay. And then I started realizing, well, everybody's got a process, right? Like we all got processes, and, Brady's got a process. They may not be very good.
He's getting a new one.
Process.
He's getting a new process.
That's a cheap shot, Brady. I'm sorry. I'm just like,
oh, it's okay. I still have something for Mike.
Right. So we all have processes. And the question is, okay, so then if that's the truth and we're going to trust in it, well, then the question is not what we do, but how we do it. And so then it's a definition of, hey, what's our standard? So now it's kind of another one. It's like, hey, everybody's talking about like a standard. Hey, we have a standard, a standard. Okay. What's your standard?
It's no difference than telling someone to throw strikes, right? How are you going to do it? Hey, go throw strikes.
Yeah.
Correct. And so that's kind of like how we've started to rewire our brains within this program, and really focusing, Jordan kind of had this concept of there are no little things. And it's kind of that thought process that, hey, it's not necessarily what socks you're wearing or, how you're going to grip this, this slider or this cutter.
Part of it's the socks though, dude. I hate those white socks.
No tube socks. Dedication to discipline, to doing, just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. we've all decided as a group, like we all said, hey, I want to be a part of this. And this is what we have to do in order to be a part of it. Okay, cool. I'm in, coach. Like, let's go. If that's what's going to help us win. And you may not think that wearing the same color socks is going to help you win. And you're right. The color of the socks probably aren't. However, what it tells me is that you are just in that moment when you were putting physically on the sock, you just said, forget the other 34 guys on 36 dudes that are going to do it one way. I'm going to be different. Or, hey, my stuff's too important, or I'm in a rush because I had class, or because I was supposed to go to here, or coach, I was supposed to X, Y, Z. And, oh, hey, by the way, you realize that every other player had that exact same scenario, but somehow chose to wear the right sock.
Right. So where were you when people were calling me a mayonnaise-looking bastard on Twitter because of my sock thing? I needed a sub-tweet or retweet or whatever they call it. But that was a perfect explanation that I couldn't put into words.
Because again, it's like, hey, man, do I sit here and think that do I care if you're going to wear your pants up or pants down, or you want stirrups, or you want, solid color, like, or if you want to be the little leaguer that's got the built-in, like, I think it looks like goofy, but like, if everybody on my team was like, hey, coach, we're going to do this, and I would be like, all right, if we're all going to look the same, like, let's buy in. Cool. I can buy into it if we think that that's what we want to do, and we all make an agreement. Now, I might say, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to rule. We're not going to do that.
Right.
But again, it's, you set the standard. You allow your program and your players, because if you want your players to hold something accountable, well, like, it's got to be something they believe in too in that process, and they have to have buy-in in that same situation. And so we sit there and we talk about, like, and sometimes, and I'll tell you, this is the hardest part. I think people deal with this in their everyday lives. We have a hard time holding people accountable because internally we feel like we have to be perfect in order to then hold somebody accountable, because they think that that's like, because unfortunately society's response tends to be, well, yeah, you're not doing this. Hey, well, I see you do X. And the truth is, how we've combated that in our program is, number one, we have to grow up and learn how to be adults and have real conversations. That's first part of it, right? Learn how to be honest. And then the second part is we sat there and said, hey, okay, let's say, Steven Rule walks by the ball bag and he's supposed to pick it up on his way, and we're all leaving to leave, and he just walks by something that he could easily pick up. And then Ben Clark looks at him and says, hey, Steve, you just going to walk by that ball bag? Steve goes, yeah, you're right. And then Ben might also know, hey, man, I'm not perfect. I walked by equipment. I'm doing the best I can to try to be better at that. And Steve knows that Ben is trying to be better at it. He knows he's not perfect, but he's trying to be, and he's also willing to hold him accountable because he knows that we need to do X, period. And it's not, it's as people talk about, it's like, hey, it's not about, this isn't military. I'm not out here yelling, pick up the ball back. No, man. I might crack a joke. I might say, hey, man, like, you just going to leave that for the guy that's got a broken shoulder over there?
Right.
Like in the
right.
Or what? And he'll be like, oh, my bad, coach. You're right. And he'll go run, pick it up. And
It's
the world
a culture.
is fine.
It's a culture thing.
It's just, and it's you got to be consistent. And then you got to hold everyone to the standard. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
I knew we were going to do this because I love you and we love baseball.
I'm just rambling. Yeah,
I just knew. No, it was going to be one of those things where I told these guys Brian's going to go off and it's going to be intriguing. But I do want to dig into a couple things.
Yeah, ask me some questions.
Tell me a little bit about like recruiting these days. Again, it changes. This is going to sound high level, but like even 2 years ago, it was different than 5 years ago to today. Like recruiting, transfer portal, all that fun stuff. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Kind of how it's it's changing.
Talk a lot about it. I think that the reality is though, like Michigan State's and Michigan's answer is going to be different than Michigan State's. Michigan State's is going to be different than ours. My answer is going to be different than Central and Eastern for that matter.
Yeah.
So that's where I would tell you is the first part. And then let's say we were on the level playing field and everything was the same and all the resources the same. We still might have a different approach because of my style versus somebody else's style. What I will tell you is, at least here at Oakland, we see the value in being old, just like everybody else. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind that, but there's some caveats to that. Okay. So the 22, you're like, hey, the 22-year-old's better than the 18-year-old. You're right. The 22-year-old that's been with me for 4 years is definitely better than the 18-year-old that's just now with me. Okay. That's true. The 22-year-old that has bounced around at 4 different places and is still trying to do X, Y, or Z, you know, I don't know that he's better than the 18-year-old. I don't know that for certain. Not necessarily the 22-year-old that I can get sometimes out of the portal. And that's where the percent, you know, like the attack for Oakland might be a little different. What I do recognize is that what the portal has done is it has shifted the timeline.
Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to know. That's what I kind of want to hear there.
So, look, we're in, you know, conversations like I'm still going to be in the high school game. Oakland University will still be in the high school hunt. I may not sign as many as I have traditionally. And let me rephrase it. I might still look like, look, we might still look up at the end on come, you know, September 1st when school starts, still have the same amount, but I don't think I'll commit as many early is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But I do think like right now I've got 3 high school kids committed for next year, 4 maybe. And then we've got 2 already committed in the 27 class. From a position player standpoint, I don't know that we'll commit another 27 for another year. What I would tell you.
Which years past that? Yeah. Go ahead.
In the past, if I'd seen somebody that I was like, oh, no brainer, especially if I felt like, hey, this kid's a guy that, you know, Ohio State really wants, is going to want in a year, you know, if I'm out in Ohio or in the state of Michigan. Hey, this is a guy that Michigan is really going to want, but Michigan can't pull the trigger right now because Michigan doesn't need to pull the trigger right now. And also Michigan does have the ability to go, hey, we might be able to, we can attack a different level of the portal than Oakland can. So if I personally, and this is my opinion, is if I feel like I'm going to go and fill my roster and fill all the holes with portal guys with the and hit on all those transfers, I'll be honest. I'm going to go the other route first, and then I'm going to get proven that way doesn't work before I try that one.
Right.
I don't like to gamble. I don't gamble. And I will tell you that I'm a big believer in increasing my odds, and my odds of saying, and like, listen, what I realize is that I've also recognized that I'll play freshmen. We play young guys. And I feel like I'm getting now another level up of freshmen than what we used to get 5 years ago. Now, part of that is because I think we've done a good job at Oakland and showing that, hey man, like we're going to play, we're going to get out there and we're improving our facility. We're doing these different things. Okay. But we're also, the reality is they're available. They're available a little bit more. And there's also just becoming more of them in general, because the average 18-year-old just feels like they throw 4 miles an hour harder. They're 2 inches taller. They're 25 pounds bigger. They're, you know, all the different things. And so it feels like, man, there's a log jam of really good high school players.
So that guy, and hopefully I say this right. So that guy that was at, let's just say Oregon for the ease of this conversation, leaves Oregon and goes to Michigan. That kid that was going to go to Michigan might say, I want to look at Oakland. Is that what you mean by some of the freshmen that
I think that sometimes is tough? I think sometimes that is a tough one. I think that kid, so think about this, and this is the truth and this is, you know, I talk about, I'll be genuine, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Look, and this is like we want to be the best team, and like one of our goals as a program is to go be the best baseball school in the state of Michigan. You know, people can say I'm crazy, whatever, that's fine. What I will tell you is a kid that has committed to the University of Michigan. And now if I was a part of the recruiting process, this might be a little different. Let's say I was a part of the recruiting process. We brought him in and he loved us. Coach, man, everything's great. And then Michigan comes in and they offer a great scholarship and he goes there and he gets the wine and dine. He's like, man, I love that. And it's Michigan. I'm going there. Okay. If that then kid gets dropped,
Yep.
assuming I've got roster flexibility and availability, I'm absolutely making a phone call for the most part, unless I felt like part of the reason why he chose Michigan over me was actually something, because I'm gonna tell you, recruiting's hard. And one of the things we do at Oakland, man, like I buy into the longevity of players. And I really believe that what we got going on here is special. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not here just to go win and so I can catapult to a bigger job. My wife is the director of philanthropy here. My daughter goes to Oakland Christian. Like, Oakland baseball, I feel like they've lacked somebody with long-term vision, I believe. And it's nothing against Jordan.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, that makes
championship. But Jordan, to his defense, like he's doing exactly what part of what he wants. He wants to go be on a big time scale, national stage, and go prove to the world.
Yeah, I told Jordan, if the timing works properly, if I'm able to retire from my real job, I want to be his bench coach, wherever the hell he ends up, right? You're right. Every coach has a different goal or aspiration.
Quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So what I would tell you is, we just, shoot, man, the reality is, I don't know if that kid, if his ego would allow him to come. He probably feels like he would go to junior college and then have the ability to go hit 400 and drop 10 homers and then re-sign with, Iowa, something of that nature. So it's not that a phone call wouldn't happen. I think every situation is completely different. I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm adamant about this. I don't burn bridges. And that's with players, families, coaches, etc. Because you just never know in this day. That's part of the portal. Like, man, you don't know. Where I have had success in the portal is in the grad transfer kids, or some kids that might be looking to get back to Michigan after spending 3 or 4 years out of state. Yeah. They want to get back close to home, and etc. So, and like I said, kids that you recruited in high school and they go somewhere, and it's no fault to anybody, but this is why we talk about it's got to be the right fit.
Yeah.
It's no fault to anybody, but it just didn't work out. And then that kid hits the portal. Hey, I called coach. Hey, tell me about so-and-so. We recruited him in high school. Hey, man, honestly, kid, I love him to death. It just wasn't getting done, or we over recruited for him, or et cetera. We're going to have to take his money, yada, yada. I think the world of him. You should definitely go after him if you got a fit. Okay, great. And I might have a shot at that kid because of our history.
So on the flip side of that, let's say you bring in a freshman, right? You bring in a guy and you find a diamond into the rough, and in 2 years, he's all Horizon League. He's your number one guy. And after his sophomore year, he comes into your office and goes, Coach, because let's call a spade. There's back channeling going on in every sport.
Yeah.
And Coach, I'm going to have an opportunity to go to a high major school and make a lot of money. What do you say to that kid?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Number one, it ain't hypothetical. I mean, it's happened.
Well, I just want to keep it hypothetical, so I'm not referencing anyone. So
listen. Here's what I tell you. I don't ever want to be the reason to stand in anybody's way of reaching and accomplishing their dreams. Mm-hmm. That's what I would tell you. Here's what I tell you. The true answer is, if we're recruiting, and I hope that I got multiple players every year that big schools want. Mm-hmm. And I think we do currently on our roster right now. And the answer is, if a kid's got an opportunity to go walk away with a bag of money, mm-hmm. do the thing that he loves doing, and he believes that, and we haven't done what we feel like we need to be able to do to give him the pathway to being able to reach that in a year or two via professionally. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping that I'm driving. Hey, I'll drive you to the airport. I'm just hoping that, you're in the front passenger seat and we got a conference championship trophy in the backseat that you helped us win along the way.
Right.
I mean, that, I think it would be very easy for me to sit up here and say, hey, man, if you have an intent on leaving here, then don't come in the first place. Well, you know, like say that to every coach that's probably been in this before me. That's the truth. I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, like I got no intent on going anywhere, and I truly love it here. And I never had a dream school. I had a dream job, and that was to be the Division I head baseball coach. And so, but what I would tell you as far as a player, like look, last year we had 3 players transfer out to what you would call Power 4 programs. And I'm going to tell you what, all 3 of them sat there in my office and cried. And it was hard on me and it was hard on them. And I don't think they, you know, I think sometimes we make we make these decisions into such and we've turned a lot of things in society into very superficial. We look at it like everything's just pure business. And because a lot of it, because we deal in such big dollar amounts sometimes now that we're like, well, it's business. Well, the reality is there's still 18 to 22 year olds.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have emotions, and the way we coach, man, like the only way I know how to coach is to connect. And if I want to get the most out of you, then it's usually because you know that I'm going to do everything there is for you. And so a kid leaving our program, for the most part, it's a hard decision for them. And from an emotional standpoint, you know, like I'd like to tell you that when people love their time, you know, here. And so yeah, man, it's hard, but I also understand, you know, the realities of the world we live in. And I don't have to like it. And I also will tell you this, there's a little part of me that goes like, hey, and like sometimes I want to grab a kid and say, just give me one more year, and I promise you, you're going to have 10 more options. You know, and I'll help you get there, you know, and it's hard because kids, you know, we are in the process of recruiting good kids, like with good hearts, that come from good families, that have good foundations and good values. And one of those is being selfless and having a purpose of service. And so you're constantly instilling all this stuff into them every day. And then at the end of the year, what society has forced these kids to do is, hey, go make a selfish decision. What feels like a selfish decision, right? Because you're doing what's best for you. Yeah. Right. And so look, and this is where sometimes like even Coach Banfield and I, like, he probably hit me and then he'd be like, no, man, like they're dead to me. And listen, there's sometimes you're not wrong. Like because I'm going to tell you this is the truth. When I say sitting there, like, you know, I got kids crying, like, hey, I'm a 40-year-old man, and like I'm pouring my heart and soul into some of these players. And when you talk about a freshman, you know, who like the journey didn't start on the first day of school. Sometimes that journey started when they were sophomores in high school, and you build real relationships. And then the moment that they leave mom and dad at home, you are, for lack of better words, the closest thing they have to a parent in that setting.
They spend more together than they do with their family.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick.
So, you know, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago,
you're gonna say right now,
you went to Michigan and you beat the Wolverines in Ann Arbor.
I did.
And
we did.
And you know,
I didn't do anything, to be fair.
Yes. Well, it goes on your record. So for better or for worse, It goes on your record. So I'm like, in the group chat, I'm like, hey, nice win. You know, you guys played a loaded non-conference, and you know, you took it on the chin a couple times in Georgia, or Texas, or Tennessee, and you go to Michigan and you get a win. And Mike responds with, midweek means nothing. So I just would like to congratulate you on the win. That means absolutely nothing, according to Mike.
So Mike's wrong.
Damn it.
Not the first time that he's been wrong about thing.
Yeah.
However, Mike's also not wrong. Okay. And here's what I'd tell you is, okay. We play 56. You know, we try to play 56. Welcome to the North. I've had 4 weeks already canceled. whatever. We try to play 56 games. So we got 34 to 37 men on the rosters. If you don't have midweeks, you got guys that are not playing, first of all. First of all, here's what I'd say. The misconception about midweeks. Okay, the perception is that when a big school gets beat by a small school, it turns into excuse city. Well, they weren't playing their best arm. They didn't have their best arm, so they were playing the bench. Well, who the heck do you think I'm playing?
Like, no, that's a good.
You're not throwing your ace when you got
right. I didn't throw our Friday guy either, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So, like that's first off that, and here's what I'll tell you. That used to be kind of the real kind of answer, but the truth is, Mike, and I'm gonna actually have you. Does anybody got an iPad or a computer in front of them?
Jay's our lookup.
Jay's our new lookup.
Jay, do me a favor, Jay. Do me a favor. Pull up the box score from that game.
Yeah, so go
this is the first one.
Page.
First one under pressure for Jay.
Yeah, because what, you're going to have him look at how many different pitchers were used?
Nope.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
So,
perfect timing. This is great.
This is awesome.
Brian, what you don't know is Jay has changed his role. So he's the look that shit up guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's got to have that guy.
Hey, everyone has a role, right?
And Doug,
I got a guy like that.
And Doug only talks football, so that's why he's been sitting here chilling.
He's like, Oakland doesn't got football.
I feel like I should have preempted, gave him behind the scenes, told him that we were going to go down this route.
No, this is great. Put him on the spot.
But,
so
Michigan, was it the 7-6 game?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so here we go.
Okay. Now, who started that game for Michigan?
I'm getting there.
On the mound, that is.
By you asking that question the way you're asking it, I could probably
I know
guess.
the answer because I was there.
No, I know, but I'm saying no. That's not what I meant. I could probably guess who it was because I can tell that you're loading this thing up on us.
Box score.
Jay's learning how to use a computer. This is
of course.
great.
Good at it. I'm glad we're all a part of this.
Yeah, that's good.
No, this is.
I want to preface this by telling you that.
Okay.
I think the world of what Michigan's going on. This is not about Michigan. This is about education purposes for you guys.
Yeah.
So you want to know who they had?
Who is the
I want to
starter?
know who they started.
Shane Brinham. Or Brinham.
Okay.
Yep.
What's his most previous appearance?
I should have that.
So, wow, you gave Jay go ahead, Mike.
I'm thinking this. Oh, you son of a gun. A freaking absolute stud. Ace. He went 7 innings of shutout ball against Oregon.
Pretty good team, right?
Freshman.
They have a number next to it, their name.
Yep.
So, okay. Then, hey, Jay, you still got that box score up, man. Talk to me about who finished the game. Give me the last 3 arms for Michigan.
So Preston
who was trying to put us away on a Tuesday in a game that didn't matter?
Preston Barr.
Yep.
Max Debich.
That guy pitches a lot.
And Cade Montgomery.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure those 2 guys lead their bullpen in appearances.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like Shane gave up 3 earned runs in that start.
Now, I would say if you really want to, go click on his start and say which program in this country has scored the most against Shane this year.
Look at this. Look at how close he is to the freaking camera.
Sounds like you know the answer to that already.
What I'm going to tell you is we treat every game no different. We scout, we recruit, we do defense alignments, we do everything that we can to win every game. So yes, they all matter. Now, do we recognize that a win or a loss on Tuesday does not impact our conference standings? So thus, in the grand scheme of things, with our primary goal, our primary goal is not to go lead the country in the win-loss record. Okay. If I was doing that, I don't think we would have scheduled the teams that we scheduled.
Right.
Okay. At least from that perspective. Our objective is to win conference. So does a win against Michigan? No, does not actually play into the outcome of our win-loss record in the Horizon League. But it meant a lot to those kids in that dugout.
Yeah. So when I was talking about this, that's kind of what I said. From an Oakland side of the game, I thought it was more important. But your points that you're making right now, You know,
Well,
with
I
the
can
Shane,
promise you
with
this.
Shane getting some innings in, getting some work in, and was that his
Right.
next start? Was Oregon his next
That was
start?
his next start was Oregon.
Yeah, so he made adjustments.
What I'm
and he
saying
learned
is
some
Tracy
things.
Tracy did not want his team, and this is where from a head coach perspective is what I will say that like we play Toledo tomorrow, and we have not played what feels like since last year.
Yeah, those damn bye weeks in conference play, right?
We had that, and we've had the cancellations with midweeks with unfortunate weather situations. So it just feels like we haven't played in a minute. And so, you know, it's going to be real easy to go out. And I told our team, like, it's going to be real easy to go out and, you know, play like crap and say, oh, we got to knock the rust off. And like, hey, you know, we could be all right. And then we play against Wednesday, against Rochester Christian. We go play them and we, you know, do what we should do, what you're supposed to do. And then you build that into Friday. But like getting your butt kicked, like doesn't feel good.
Right, right.
No, you
And
don't.
I don't like on Tuesday, like I can promise you this, like Michigan 1000% expected to go in and win that game. No different than we expected to win. And we were going to perform to try to win. We were going to do everything we could to win. They expected to win. And when you don't accomplish what you're trying to do, it matters. And especially when we only get 56 games and we only get 3.5 months in a season setting, you know, we get from September till hopefully, you know, July. But like the reality is, you know, you get this amount of time to be with this group of human beings. And by no way, shape, or form, but like I can promise you that it wasn't an off day for them. It's not an off day for us. None of them are. Like on Wednesday when we play Rochester Christian, you don't think that game matters to RCU? Shoot. You think it doesn't matter to me? Like we need to get going.
Yeah.
We got a big one on Friday. Like those are big games.
So next time you send me a midweek score,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say doesn't matter but matters. And let me look up
Fine.
some shit.
What I would tell you is sometimes don't read into the scores, you know,
Right.
like that's where like sometimes it's kind of like, oh, they played sloppy baseball. Well, you know, sometimes we do because unfortunately we do got to give certain guys rest.
Yep.
And you can't play certain guys or you are banged up. So you're throwing in you're giving young guys opportunities and that can be a recipe for chaos.
Yep.
But just because I throw a freshman out there, like, it's important. And you better believe I'm evaluating that player based on that performance. And he knows it as well. And so it matters.
So, Coach, this has been awesome. Your excitement and it just exudes, right? And I think that has been evidenced before, or as I will show you, we do have video evidence of back in the day.
Yes.
This is April. I think it's April 2023.
So if we can see, yep, here on the screen.
Everyone focus
Pay
on the
attention
third,
at the third base coach, who's not in the box. By
Oh,
the
you
way.
might need a render.
You're not. Oh, it's. Oh, there you go. And grand slam. And so he's waving a guy home on a ball that lands 50 feet over the fence.
Lucas Luke.
And then the jump, the split, still back up. Beautiful excitement. But what are the best highlights in the background of social media we've seen?
So here's the deal with that, right? This shows you what Brian Nelson is like in just 10 seconds of a video. His passion for these kids. Wouldn't you agree, Brian? Like that's kind of how you are with
kind
it.
of
Like
funny.
so freaking proud.
There's some kind of backstory to a lot of that. If you keep playing, I don't know how far it shows, but you'll see me go over to the dugout and Coach Banfield comes out of the dugout and I kind of give him a little chest bump. And, you know, we had Lucas Luce was a kid that we had brought in that this was semi-late. Yeah, there I am. I'm semi in the back. But you'll see me go over to the dugout. And Jordan and I kind of have this little side moment, and it's
they're in the background.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I gave him a little shove, and it was kind of funny because we had been, you know, Lucas was a very special hitter, but had some time to continue to work and trying to get him into the lineup was a constant discussion with Coach Banfield and myself. And And finally that morning, I was just like, dude, like, let's just put loose in it. We'll put him in right field. Like, you know, he was a third baseman, but Brandon Nye was our third baseman. And so he was kind of stuck. And I was like, we were having some issues in the outfield. And it was like, dude, just go stick him out there. Like, we need some offense. Like, and he was like, you know, he's like, fine, forget it. Let's do it. We're down by like 3 or something at the time. And it's the 7th or 8th. And it was late in the game. And he comes up and sure enough hits this, you know, this big grand slam. And yeah, I will say that the turf was wet. That's why I slipped it. My recovery was good.
It was.
This interview,
but I was fired up, and so I went over to Coach Banfield and I shoved him. I was like, and we were kind of doing one of those like I told you so's, and it wasn't, and I'm trying to say that it wasn't a told you so. It was more of like, how about us, you know, kind of really. But it's not that Coach Banfield, like he trust me, he knew he could hit. It was just hard for us to find a spot in the lineup for him until we had a couple, you know, free spots open up, and it was good to get him in there. And yeah, it was a big moment. And to Mike, your point is yeah, man, like you through a recruiting process, you build relationships with players. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is that, you know, it's like we get kids out there and when they don't do well, I mean, you know, they're hurting, we're hurting, you know, like I'm hurting for them. Like trust me, I want them to do well, you know, all the things like we brought you here because we thought you would do well. And when you don't do well, and it's kind of like I tell people all the time, I said, you know, a lot of times, again, we talk about extreme ownership. Like, we got to do a good job of evaluating whether or not we believe you can actually play at this level. Okay, so that's a part of it. That's my responsibility and my coaching staff's responsibility. In that recruiting process, I got to do a good job of evaluating whether or not you're the right fit for me and the way I coach and your character, and if you can be a part of this program and if you can uphold the standards. Okay, so like that's also my responsibility. So then if all that works out and you say yes and you want to be a part of this, and then you show up to campus and I tell you to stand on your head to hit, or, you know, I tell you need to drop your ankle down to underarm, or, you know, I tell you the only way to run to first base is to run backwards, and you do all of these things and you show up on time and you bust your tail academically and you're in the community doing service, and we're doing all the things, and you're listening to everything I say, and then you hit $150 or you got an ERA of 8. Well, then the reality is me and my staff did one of two things wrong. We either poorly evaluated you in that process, or we have done a piss poor job of developing you and coaching you while you're here. And sometimes it's just not the right fit, and that does happen. But the reality is, so who am I to then bring a kid in a lot of times and say, hey, we're taking your scholarship because you underperformed and we need to move on from that. And then if I'm doing that, everything I'm pouring into these kids during the months, you know, from the moment they step here, like it's hard to do that, man. We care about these kids. I'm looking at you right in the face, and I'm talking to mom and dad, and I tell you I'm going to take care of you, and we got to shoulder some of that responsibility. That's the reality.
By the way, that grand slam made a 9-6 game, a 10-9 game against Purdue Fort Wayne. But he was on it. So,
it was big time.
Coach, really appreciate you joining us. Awesome conversation. Mike was right. So we'll have to have you on again. Hopefully you guys finish out the season strong going into the Horizon League tournament. And I'll make sure I say hi.
We're right at the turn. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. And absolutely. Listen, I think what you guys are doing is something that's much needed. It's awesome. Like, look, I'm from Texas originally. We talked a little bit off camera about some of the baseball in the area and high school ball and things of that nature, but we got good baseball in this state. And it's, we're not in the SEC. We get it. And, hell, we're pretty far above the Mason-Dixon line. So we get it. But from a national perspective, it's tough when there's not a lot of coverage up north, and we got some good baseball in Michigan. So I from my standpoint, I will tell you this, always feel free to reach out. Like I said, I'll be honest with you always, but doesn't mean I'm right. So take everything like please don't take it to the grave, man. I'm just an opinion, but I do have a perspective if you're always willing to listen. And I will tell you, just from a coach's perspective, it's very easy to go listen to you guys and anybody for that matter, not just you specifically, but listen to a podcast and complain about it and say you guys don't know what you're talking about. And the reality is, hey man, how many of you guys have been college baseball coaches? Oh, cool. Nobody, like, okay, but you're out here doing something that I don't want to say needs to be done, but like it sure is awesome, and you're going to bring exposure to a lot of players that they deserve it. They deserve it. And if we can help make you better, and I think more coaches should be able to open up to you and be honest with you and say, hey man, I think what you're doing is awesome. If you want my opinion on how to make it better, here's my 2 cents. But whatever, I love what you're doing. And you're going to keep you guys, all of y'all continue to get better each show. So what I would tell you though is, everything matters.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Coach, thank you. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.
See you, brother.
guys.
Appreciate you being here, man.
Well, I want to thank again to Brian Nelson for joining us. Awesome.
Unbelievable.
I mean, we could have talked for 2.5 hours.
I think he should be. Did you ever see the McAfee show where they have like Aaron Rodgers on every couple weeks? Maybe we bring him in for like 5-10 minutes. It'll be hard to be 5-10 minutes.
Question. We'd get one question, but
it's okay. That's what people.
And again, that's what I wanted with him. I know you got something to go over, but what I wanted was Coach Nelson I wanted people to see,
to be authentic,
and see what he's like.
Well, because that's what he said at the beginning. People can smell bullshit, and that's one thing. He even told us, I think, before we recorded, he goes, listen, I'm going to be honest. Don't ask a question you don't want to know the answer to, but I want to thank him. And again, our show today is brought to you by the Detroit Thread Company. Detroit Thread Company is a top servicing embroidery and uniform provider in the Metro Detroit area, delivering premier sports embroidery and uniforms for teams, schools, and organizations. They provide high-quality stitching, custom designs, and durable team apparel that stands out on and off the field. Call 866-382-4287 to get your team or organization geared up today. All right, we have one Did You See This Shit? Because we've gone a long show.
You didn't tell us what it is.
No,
I'm scared.
I wanted this authentic reaction. It's similar to the Central Toledo incident. So this is ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana, whatever the hell you call them, and James Madison. So Sunbelt baseball. So Tommy, if you want to play it, so it you can't even see it at first. It's very nonchalant. It's a bunt attempt down the first base line, and then you won't see it on the initial view, but there's a little bit of a collision. The guy running down the line lowers his shoulder.
Was he inside the line?
We'll see it on the replay. There you see it right there. Yeah, Tommy, if you can go it back just a little bit, just so they can look at it again.
I gotta be natural.
This is the first one. He's running pretty hard, and he kind of lowers his shoulder. He makes no attempt to get around him. Now, Tommy, let it play after this because this is only part one.
Yeah.
So this is the ULL player. First of all, if you can pause it right there. First of all, initial thoughts on the hit.
The guy took the hit like a champ.
He did. The first baseman stays
That's
up.
my first hit.
I think the runner is a dildo. Honestly,
there's no reason for it. He's not blocking first base. You're 10 feet from the base. Okay, so hit play, because that's not all that happens. So, obviously you get shoulder tackled. You're not happy. Yeah, there's no
or look, he's like my size, so he's got like little man syndrome or whatever.
So, both dugouts stand up, and all of a sudden the Louisiana coach starts going off on the James Madison. I don't just mean like talking back and forth. I mean,
his assistants get into it too.
He has rage in his eyes.
Okay, so did you know anything about this? Any backstory to it? Because I tried to find. I did see this.
Yeah, so that's what I have for foul. So I mean, he's yelling and he's getting into it. It's not with the head coach, but he's yelling at another coach. There was a little bit of, I guess, quote unquote follow up. If you guys remember Jonathan Lucroy, who is a former Louisiana player now. Before Tommy pulls up the other tweet. Yeah, and there you see the replay. He is going over with intent. He is trying to run through this umpire.
Look at everyone staying behind there. One coach is blocking them.
So you have that. And then, Tommy, if you can pull up the other tweet of the Jonathan Lucroy quote explanation, which
Well, this is good. You found it. Okay. Because I was reading like comments.
This is from a Louisiana perspective. Scroll up if you all the way so we can see the top of it. Yeah. So he says, just got the inside scoop on this deal, but to suffice to say that tensions had been boiling since the beginning of the series. JMU baseball had some players chirping since the start in the series, F-bombs and such. Our Raging Cajuns baseball player had a bad drag bunt and dropped his shoulder into the first baseman since he was in the line. Bad decision on his part, and he knows it. Deggs, the head coach of ULL, was going to handle him after the inning. However, JMU baseball dugout started chirping hard and cussing at Deggs at third base. Coaches and players...
so the bench was yelling at the coach on the third baseline.
From the ULL perspective, saying that happened. Head coach didn't tell his players to shut up. Huge eyewash, in my opinion. Players don't yell and cuss at teams' other head coaches. That's a no-go zone. Deggs was all over the crap talking, was over the crap and decided to get after it. You can see the video. The JMU head coach didn't want to deal with it. Okay, and then he goes on to basically say, my coach is in the right.
Yeah, I read some stuff that they were getting very personal, too, about his private life.
So here's the thing. Unless you know what was said, because, a coach, someone from the bench going, hey, get control of your fucking team there, I think is completely in line. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're throwing out his wife's name or his kids' names, that is 100%.
I read some things about that.
There was also the press conference that Deggs did after the game. It was 2.5 minutes of him saying, basically, they said things I didn't like. Now, first of all,
that's taking the high road, right?
Well,
what do you want him to say?
If you listen to it, it's a lot of word soup where he's not saying a lot and he's trying to deflect and, well, we know he did something wrong. Like how hard is it to go up there like, listen, he did something really friggin' stupid. And that's the one thing I don't like is like, well, yes, the one player did try to run a guy over.
The guy trying to run him over had nothing to do with anything.
It sparked two separate things. You could tell tensions had been boiling. I mean,
if that would have happened in the 90s, this guy right here, Jay, would have been rolling around with that guy whipping his ass. That's all I'm going to say. Like, that's how shit happened back then.
Yeah, it's a different world now.
But here's the thing, like, I'm a more old school guy, right, yep. Mike? I'm an older soul.
Yep.
There was no point to try and run a guy over 70 feet down the first base. No. Like, that's not a collision at the plate. That's not, you're diving back or you're trying to break up a double play.
Even if there was somebody on third and less than 2 outs, like maybe you're trying to cheat a little bit to get that runner to score.
What you do is you do the Javi Baez and run back home.
Right, but I'm just saying there wasn't even anyone on base. Hey, I just got a text from the Rochester coach.
Oh, yeah?
So the Madonna game, Landon Fahey was the pitcher for Rochester.
I just love hard transition.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go back to the first segment. Yes, we're recording this as Rochester actually swept Madonna in a doubleheader.
So Landon Fahey, from Rochester, former Detroit prospect and Lutheran North kid. Really cool story that I know we don't have a lot of time to tell, but 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, set 86-87 and topped at 88.
Pretty good.
This is NAIA for Rochester University. So we talk about how there's good baseball around, like good for Landon.
Yeah, that's a big couple of wins there.
He was a last minute, like summertime commit to Rochester this past summer.
But anyway, back to, as Mike called him, dildo running down for. No, that's good that it happened because we got the result live. But like, I don't know. I guess, Jay, am I wrong that basically depending on what was said, if it was personal, then that reaction, it could be justified.
For the coach?
Yes.
It's tough because I don't think that reaction is really ever justified for the coach because the coach's job to keep cool heads. So that just looked bad all around. And then it looks like he's yelling at the kids.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, who are you to yell at somebody else's team?
If they really said something that egregious, put it out there. Put them on. if they said like something about your family or something about your wife or your kids, then say, nope, they brought my family into it. That's completely unacceptable. And I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Because right there, it looks like your guy acted like an asshole.
Okay, let's say he did that.
Then you got mad because you were being called an asshole.
So if they did that, you're fine with his reaction?
I wouldn't say completely fine. I understand it.
I'll tell you what.
It becomes
I'd say you talk to the other team's coach.
Well, according to the Lucroy tweet, he was trying to, but, quote, according to Lucroy, the JMU coach didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, he probably said, I coach my team, you coach your team.
And he probably saw him running over like a maniac and going, nothing good's going to happen to this. So, no, it definitely triggered him, but like it's like walk over to the coach and say, "Hey, we're gonna fucking talk after this game. I'll meet you behind home plate." Because the demeanor of him going over there was not.
Yeah, it's all a bad look.
Yeah,
bad look from the start.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna go fight somebody.
Yeah.
So
either way, those are like field of 64 NCAA basketball teams. So who cares?
Well, yeah, but we get to talk about it.
I know.
It's not one of the teams we cover, so we don't have to pretend that everyone's in the right.
Yeah.
So,
no, there was no right in that one.
Like, I guess, all right, Jay, let me just ask you this before we wrap it up. What would someone have had to have yelled for you to say acceptable response?
Shit, for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like for you to act like
you're
that.
the AD of Louisiana, right? And you go, Coach, what the hell was this? He'd have to say, well, they said blank.
No, even further, for Jay to be that third base coach.
I'm saying
okay.
as the AD, for you to go, okay, Coach, not a good look, but I get it.
Yeah, there's nothing, in my opinion, that's acceptable. And I was a hothead when I was a kid.
Right.
So a coach, I mean, it's just not acceptable for the coach to do that. I mean, unless somebody
the level-headed response.
Well, unless somebody hit your
shit.
teammate, like point blank punched him in the face, that's the only time a coach is going to get involved like that.
Just attack the other
it's all wrong on their end. I mean, the kid hits the first baseman. I don't even know what the point of that was. Were you trying to knock the ball out? What were you trying to do right there?
It wasn't even like
you had the right out. It's just the guy sitting there tagging you. And
all of our personalities have changed over the years.
Yeah.
Like, what would have happened? I know you asked that question, but like, if you can't get to that bench to fight, the next pitch is ear hole in the guy.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
People just fucking talk. They just
do put you could also argue you put your team in danger of the pitcher going, all right, I'm breaking this kid's ribs.
Yeah.
I'm throwing a fastball, I'm grabbing a four-seamer, and this guy's gonna.
But it doesn't happen anymore.
Like you said, they don't do it anymore.
And guess what they did there? They all just talked.
Yeah.
Everyone talked shit.
Anyway, I thought that was something that
I kind of like it being a surprise. That was kind of cool.
Well, because I think that I wanted the honest reaction to that before you, like you said, you read anything.
My honest reaction is the whole thing was stupid.
Yeah.
Like it was a great video, good for you, but like these people,
I didn't take it, but
these people are just.
Anyway, thank you all for listening again. We'll be back next week. Mike might have to be virtual because he goes, let's do a podcast, and then takes 2 vacations in 5 weeks.
This is work. I'm going to Vegas for work.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Right? Like we were supposed to start this a week earlier, but Mike went to Florida.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, I feel like everybody has to take a deep breath.
Yep.
Breathe. Remember why you're doing this.
Yep.
Anyway.